Hello and welcome to At Home with Anita Rosner. A couple of years ago, I vowed that when travel restrictions were lifted, I was going to go to Australia, and I went, and it was amazing. So in today's video, I'm going to take you there and show you some of the highlights, and we're going to make a traditional Australian treat called a Lamington. Originally, when I Googled most popular entree in Australia, because that was something I wanted to make, the thing that kept coming up was chicken parmesan, which I know on its face doesn't seem to make any sense. But if you really think about it, it makes absolutely no sense at all. So instead, we are making Lamingtons. It starts with a cake. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is the third cake that I baked. The first cake, I used a traditional Lamington recipe, and it was as dry as a bone, and that's not going to work for this. And the second one did not rise, which also is not going to work for this, because Lamingtons are little square cakes that are delicious. So this third cake, I made from a box mix, and I'm not sorry. So first thing we're going to do is trim the edges a little, because Lamingtons are perfectly square. These are not going to be perfect, I'm telling you right now, because I'm going to kind of eyeball it. And we'll save these little bits for something else later. There. Now my cake is about 2 inches high. So we're going to make 2-inch squares. These are not going to be perfect, but it won't matter, because no matter how I slice it, they're going to be delicious. This apron that I'm wearing shows indigenous wildflowers of Australia, and I got it at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Victoria. It was a wonderful trip. I'm going to write about it in my blog, so maybe by the time this video lands, that blog post will be done. And you can check that out at snorkfest.com. Yeah. All right. Our cake is cut, and now we're going to move on to the next step. In this bowl, I have 1 stick of unsalted butter melted. I'm going to whisk in 3/4 of a cup of milk, 3/4 of a cup of cocoa powder. Now, as you may know, cocoa powder is what's called hydrophobic, which means it sits on water and doesn't absorb it. So you have to really be patient to get that properly mixed in. It's getting there. And now I have 1.5 cups of sifted powdered sugar that I'm going to add gradually. This is what we're going to use for our glaze. Oh, and I forgot to add a pinch of salt. Okay, this is pretty smooth now. So what I'm going to do is put this in this bowl, because we want the depth so we can dip the pieces of cake. So let's do that first. Ooh, that looks good. And here I have 2 cups of desiccated coconut, which is very fine. If you can't find it, just buy shredded coconut and give it a little blitz. That'll do the job just fine. But I'm going to wash out this bowl because we're going to use this to help coat them in the coconut. Now, the reason you don't want to take the Lamington from the chocolate and put it right in your big bowl of coconut is because the coconut's going to start getting chocolatey and sticky, and we might not use all the coconut. So instead of getting the entire batch of it sticky and chocolatey, if we have any left over in here, we can use it for something else. Okay, so 2 forks. Let's take our first square and we're going to turn it in the chocolate using the forks and make sure it's coated on all sides. And then I'm going to put it in our coconut. And once it's coated, it's a little less sticky for you to handle. There is our first Lamington. Now let's do the rest. While I'm finishing these up, I want to show you some of the highlights of my trip. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. These are done. And now we're just going to put them in the fridge for 10 minutes and let the chocolate set. And here they are, Lamingtons. So good. I'm going to cut one in half so you can see what they look like inside. They're spongy and soft, and they soak up the glaze just around the edges. It's light and soft and moist. Perfect with a cup of coffee, maybe a little tea. In closing, I just want to say that our trip to Australia was truly magical. And that's in very large part because of my husband's cousin Fran and her husband Clive. They were the best hosts anybody could ever hope for. And we miss you guys very much. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, become a subscriber, and join me again right here next time at home with Anita Rosner. Thanks for watching.